So whoever submits any document must pass through my table. All right, so that's it up on me. Okay, let me probably add a little. So I have a technical writing community called Technical Writing Mentorship Program, and the program is ongoing, and it will end by July. And the reason for the program is just to make sure everybody gets into technical writing, whatever field you are, data analyst, software engineer, marketing, whatever field, even if you're not into tech before, we'll take it from ground zero to hero. All right, so today we'll be talking about a very important topic. But before I continue, I will probably want to ask, I would like you to respond with an emoji. So do you know or have you heard about Google system of docs? Just respond with an emoji so I would understand. One person, two. Wow. Okay, so now Google system of doc it's a program that would help anybody that wants to learn how to contribute to an open source project through docs. So which means you must know how to write technical documents, you must know how to build the documentation sites before you can even be involved in such a program. Now, the thing there is that it's not only just writing the technical document. That is why this class is very important, because if you're in this class, after this class, at least you probably have very good knowledge of what to do. I guess there should be maybe probably by midnight or end of today, they should be sharing the list of organizations, and it will be open for every technical writer to apply. And one good thing about it is it's not free. It's a paid program. So you get to be paid. So when I did mine was $3,000 for 4 months. Now, but they have others that do for 6 months. You get paid $5,000. Some, just one individual alone, will get paid $15,000, some $10,000, and all that. Then you have the volunteers that would probably gain $500. Now, the good thing about it, not just the money, is you will have experience to your side. You will have connection to your side, because imagine you're working for a company like VLC, because VLC also, they applied and they have other Genome and some other big companies you probably would always dream to work for, but you probably now started working with them through this program. Now you've made some connections, and while working with them, you show them that you're very good. You might get retained, or even if you're not retained, at least that relationship is there. You can easily work with that to get jobs going forward. So the reason I'm saying this, if I want to start my classes, I want you to open your mind to know that this is an important topic. Technical writing in this part of the world is new. I know most of you probably be here technical writing, you'll be wondering, what is this technical writing like? Why is everybody talking about it? And why are people now making money from something I think that is new? All right, so let me open my if you can see my screen, let me know.
Oh, not yet.
I see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Right. So we'll be talking about Docker code in the technical writing world. So what is Docker code? Now, Docker code is a methodology, so it's a pattern that treats documentation like code, allowing technical writers to use software development tools and processes to create and maintain documentation. So not the regular way we do writing before you write on Google Docs, you write on Notion, and you send the link, or you give the person comment access, or you give the person edit access. That is not Docker code. So Docker code is the way developers do their thing, their processes, their style is being treated like that. So just like developers use GitHub, you push your code on GitHub, and send a pull request. Now that same process, you also do that same process with Docker's code. So as a technical writer, you no longer follow the process of Google Docs or Notion or Microsoft Word. You also now store your own documentation on GitHub, send a pull request, they accept, they reject, you put your commit and all that. So that is the benefit of Docker's code, or probably that is Docker's code. Now it involves using plain text. There are tools that will allow you to use plain text. Tools like README or Gitbook will allow you to use plain text. Now, version control systems like GitHub and automated tools. Now you can also automate your own Docker's code. Now, just like the way you have SQL CI, Jenkins and all the rest you use to automate the whole processes, you also use that to automate your Docker. Now I know it's kind of surprising that you're just writing and you're doing that. That is the Docker's code, which is documentation as code. Just like the way you code, you push your code, you send your pull request, you also do documentation like that. So now, why use Docker's code? You know what Docker's code is now. So why should we use this Docker's code? Now, let me probably say something that is not here. So many companies right now hire developers that write more than they hire writers alone, because they want you to know about the tool, or they want you to, at least they always add it that they want somebody that has software development or software engineering experience, so it will be easier for you to go to any level they want you to go to. So imagine I know JavaScript very well, and there is a new JavaScript framework, a front-end framework that the team is building, and they want somebody to come and write it. They can't call a mobile engineer, probably, let me say iOS or Android engineer, or a backend. They probably look for somebody that knows JavaScript on front end, that probably building with React or Vue, so it will be easier for you to learn that. Now, if they don't find somebody like that, they know a backend person. For you to learn any programming language, you can easily learn this and start building or writing stuff. So now, but this is how it is. You have a software engineering experience, easier for you to move from one side they want to do to the other. So that is why they always prefer somebody that knows how to code. So why use Docker's code is, one, you're working with engineers. So that is why most software companies need developers first. They're working with engineers. So imagine where an engineer is probably trying to explain something. It's as if he's teaching you that stuff for over 1 hour, and you've never even understood that. It's a problem, because when you're not productive, because you need to understand what he's saying or what he's doing before you can write about it. So it's always a benefit for engineers over the other. So one, it allows technical writers to collaborate with software engineers more easily by using the same tool and processes. So you want to work with an engineer, you use GitHub, you also use GitHub. He can easily make changes for you, because engineers also write, even if they don't probably write the way users will understand. But working with the same tool with them will make the process very easy. Then you want them to, imagine you want an engineer to review, you're telling him go to I put up the stuff on Google Docs, and you can go and check it. I give you comment access. That's stressful, like very stressful. So it's will be enjoyable when they work with the same tool, and they really enjoy the process. Secondly, it provides more efficient workflow for documentation, allowing for faster feedback loops and continuous improvement. You're using GitHub for everything. You can go there, you send a pull request, he checks everything. Maybe he feels maybe you need to explain more, or maybe you need to add this code or that code, or maybe the code you added, he tested and it is not working. He will just probably, reject, and you probably get it back, work on it, send the pull request, and that workflow works faster than using a different tool they are not working with on a daily basis. So the last point is it enables documentation to be versioned using GitHub to track. So you can track everything. You can have an old version, you can go back, track back if you think this is not too good, you want to go back to the previous version, and ensuring that changes are properly documented and reviewed using this mode. So how to implement Docker's code? So one, you use plain text such as Markdown or structured text. So this is your normal text you type on. I know the name is kind of big, but it's a normal text you type in Google Doc. That is what they call the structured text. Then Markdown. It's very important for you to learn Markdown, know how to work with Markdown. Then to write a documentation. Now, second is store documentation files in version control system. So you have to use GitHub or probably version control system like Git to track. Now, not only I'm not talking about GitHub. You can also use any code storage of your choice, GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket, any one of your choice. But most companies use GitHub, so that is why I've been saying GitHub. So now you use tools such as static site generators or continuous integration pipelines to build, test, and deploy your documentation. So there are several static site generators you can work with. So probably we'll use one of them here. I will probably list a lot of them. So you have Jenkins, you have Hugo, there's Hugo, you have Doxify, Lucaserios, MKDocs, and Elemente, Gitbook and README. There are a lot of them you can work with. So now most companies use this. At least, let me probably say 80 or 85% of software engineering companies that have DocSite use static site generators. Probably the rest might use something different. But like I said, 85. So which means it's a lot. It's a lot of numbers. So if you probably want to, excel as a technical writer, you need to learn how to work with this. Now, now let's do an assignment. So when Google drops the list of organizations you can apply, go and check. What most of them want is for you to update their docs or build a new docs or modify their docs or make changes on their docs. Let me say like 90, okay, this is just a figure in my head, 98% would want to do that. So 2% is maybe make the little changes on something that doesn't relate to this. So you can imagine, which means if you don't know this, you'll be struggling with over 1,000 persons or people to fill in that 2% company that doesn't use static site generator. So it will be of good benefit that you have this, and it's a good benefit that after this class, you probably build something with what you have. Okay. So now the benefits of Docker code. So it enables faster and more efficient documentation process, like I stated earlier. It facilitates collaboration between the engineer and the technical writer. They really love that. I was an engineer before I started doing technical writing. So then if I probably have a tool that will take me off what I do on a daily basis, it looks stressful because I feel it will make me not to be productive. So it enables versioning and tracking of your documentation changes and provide more consistent and maintainable documentation structure. All right, so thank you. And this is not the end. So let's go over here. So now this is one of them, one of the static site generators that I said above, which is Doxify. Then you have MKDocs. Then you have this one. Okay, so let's just talk about this tree. So this is Fugu, and most companies use this. So let's talk about this first one. I don't know if you have your system so we can have a practical class here. Do you? You can drop it in the chat or you can use the mic. Okay, can you just use the chat if you have your system so we can do a walkthrough of this?
We are with you.
Okay. Yeah, no. I said, are you ready to do the practical section so we start?
Yes. So in case some of the people that are here are not with their system, the session is also being recorded to be uploaded to YouTube.
Okay. All right. So let me drop the link. So you have to use this Doctify for this example. So Doctify is one Docker code that I love because it's pretty simple, although most companies don't use it because it's pretty simple. So I use this when I probably want to have a class like this. It's very simple and lightweight, so you can start it as fast as possible. So you click on getting started, probably take your time to read through. So if you want to install it, so you have to use this command here, install, and use this initialize command to initialize it. Then if you want to preview what you have done so far, I guess I've already done one. So to save us time, let me go over to what I've done. So once you click this, it will install it in the system. They initialize it in the folder. It will give you this docs folder here. So then after the next thing for you to do is to test. So first folder for files you will have is the index file, you have the readme file, and you have this file. So this file prevents GitHub pages from ignoring files that begin with _. Now this is your home page. So whatever changes you make there appears on the home page. And this is your entry file where you add your plugins. So they have plugins in this customization section where you add your plugins. If you want to add SEO plugin, if you want to add screw up and down, or maybe go down, you have a button that will take you up, and different plugins, you also have that. And if you have the time and you're a good engineer, you want to write a plugin, something you think is missing, you already have an option to do that. So this is something I've already built. So if you do Doctify serve docs, it will serve you the docs, and this is it. All right, so this is a docs I'm building to list the trending AIs. So now Doctify, they have teams, different teams. Now this is the team I worked with. I can also share that video. Where is it? Okay. So a bare Doctify doesn't look like that, but if you work with this team, have a docs that looks like this. So I categorize it by writing, resume, Chrome extension, video, and art. So if you go over here, click on the docs, you see in this docs folder alone, no other folder, just this docs folder, you have this underscore side menu is the menu you have by the side. So if you go through, here, it will tell you how to add your sidebar. So in order to have a sidebar, you have to create your own sidebar using this, and you add this code, and that's it. So it's pretty simple and easy. So looking at what we have, the sidebar, you have art, you have Chrome extension, you have no code, you have resume, you have video, and you have writing. Now, working with this, you need to know how to work with Markdown. So it's Markdown. If you watch very well, the file is .md, so Markdown extension. So this is it, this is Markdown. So if you're using double, if you know how to work with Markdown, let me probably, there is a Markdown site. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, so now this is Markdown. If you don't know how to work with Markdown, so Markdown is very easy. So this is the heading. You have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. Heading 1 means like the title, very big. Heading 2 means, subtitle. Heading 3 is like a subtitle, under a subtitle. So now let's try to see how this works. Okay, let's go back to overview. Now this overview, you have all this. So now let me try to add this here. So looking at this, the last we're having is goals. So let me add the first one. title, so you get to see first title, very big. Okay, sorry. So first title, very big. The next one is double hash subtitle, and this is the
You don't find
just
your
it
kidney
has
come
more.
out.
It has more. You can go up to 5 or 6.
You is a bit person with the fine phone.
4.
I did that. No, you push on.
This is 5. Okay. Alright, see? So this is big coming down till the last. So that is Markdown. So very easy. You just name a file and give it a Markdown extension. You can start working with this. So if you want to make something bold, you use this double asterisks to make it bold. If you want to add italics, you add this to give it italics. If you want to list a file, you get it supposed to be 1 asterisks.
Yeah,
now let us see this. This is bold, this is italics, and this is listing. So that is Markdown for you. So you can take your time and also go through.
She's not.
Take your time, go through this link, study it. You have a lot of stuff here. You can order lists like this. You can add a code on ordered lists. You can add code. You can also add, this is just 1-line code. You can also add double-line code. Let's say, yes, stuff like this. So you see, you can copy this to clipboard. This is not like code, this is just like 1-line code. So studying this would help you. You can go as far as doing a lot of stuff, adding tables. You can do, okay, this is fence code block. This is what I did there. Okay, now let me copy this. Very good example for that. I'm going to add it to this. If you want it to be JS, if you want it to be Java, if you want it to be any language of your choice. So you see, so this is how Markdown works. So this has, okay, I feel this, okay, you can work with this. There are other sites that has more larger Markdown syntax. You can copy from there. So back to our code. So let me delete all this. This is how you create a Docsify docs. Now this is what most companies want you to do. So as technical writer, you're now working with VS Code, and you can push this. So this is already on GitHub. Go on GitHub, you see it there, you make changes there, you send pull requests, and anybody can work with this. So now this is the benefit of Docker's code. You're now doing everything documentation like the way developers work with their codes. So that's the benefit. So, and look at what I did here using the team. I categorize this in write, resume, and Chrome extension, video, and art. So if you click on writing, see, I added a list. There is a way you can add use this Markdown syntax to add a link. So I added a link here, and this is the benefit of this Docker's this Docsify. It has this code section. If you click here, it will take you to. I've not added it yet. So this should take you to my GitHub and show you this particular code, so you can make changes to the code. So and imagine you apply to a job, a technical writing job, and you send them a link like this is what you built. You know, they first of all would know that you know how to work with this tool, and it's not a problem you learn, because most companies don't want to spend so much time teaching people how to work with tools like this. They want to know that you already know how to work with the tool, so it's just for you to come and learn how to work with their own tool or language or feature than learning the actual tool you should use to work. So now this for
The
Docsify.
person talking is Nigerian.
Then you have MK Docs.
Not
You go through the process of MK Docs. You have
Not
available
residing in
teams.
Nigeria.
You
Oh,
can
yeah,
also download
Nah,
and start
big man,
working
I don't
with
see
this
them.
one. Then the easiest of all of them is Meetbook. Meetbook is just to register. This is more of my company. All right, so let's have a look into it. So this is how Gitbook works. You register on Gitbook. You can save it on GitHub, or you can decide to work with it here. It's fine, but it will give you an option to have your code stored on GitHub. But most of your changes are not cannot. If you want to make your changes on GitHub, fine. If you want to make your changes there, fine. But this Gitbook is good for the marketing team because this does not require you to know how to work with Markdown before you can use it. You can use it just to do your normal drag and drop at simple picking few things you want, like click to pick image. You go and pick image from the gallery. Add a link. It will just give you to click to add a link, add your link and click OK. It will add it for you. Now that's the benefit of this because most marketers wouldn't want to have the time to learn. So a tool like Gitbook would give you room to work with marketers and also give you that room to work with engineers because you can store it on GitHub and it has Markdown feature, so you can also use your Markdown syntax on this. So I don't know why it's taking so much time to open.
Are you sure say you're not in Nigeria? You sure say you're not in Nigeria?
I just talk and say.
So if you have any question while waiting for it to come up, you can share. Okay, is this still Docsify that gives the now for that content feature? Yes. So this is the one I used. This is the theme that gave me this cool feature. But on the normal Docsify, you also have that feature. But having it look like this, you have to use the theme. So that's the theme I sent in this chat. So let me copy it again.
You sent the link. Will you be able to access it after
most package pass is what seems. Yeah, so I would prefer you to work with Markdown because most companies use that. Even my company currently, I use Markdown. I use anyone, but majorly Markdown. And most of the contract and freelance roles that I've worked with, I've also used Markdown. Like they prefer me to use Markdown. So it's always very good to learn how to work with Markdown. Okay, so this is Gitbook. This is how the admin part of Gitbook looks like. So if you want to make any changes here, you don't need to go over anywhere. Just scroll down anywhere you want to make. You see this plus. You click on this plus. You've added the feature here already. So if you want to make any changes here, we've added the feature. You can decide to name this whatever you want to name it. And if you want to add anything, click on plus. You have paragraph, you have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 on ordered list. If you click this, it gives you everything and you start working like that. So that is how it works. So you come here, you click on the plus, you have hints, and you can even change the hints here.
Wá máa bọ̀ l'April 6 kó wá jẹ oúnjẹ àlàáfíà àwọn oúnjẹ tó ṣe.
Ṣé báwo ló ṣe ìwọ tó lọ ní ti?
Ṣé fífẹ́ mi sá? Kí ló kàn mí kan fẹ́ sá?
Coming down, you have code blocks, insert files, insert image, embed the URL, table, you click on table, it gives you things to work with. Like automatically it makes everything easy. So that's why I say this works very well with marketers because you just come and click and have what they want and move on. If you want to work with tags or tabs, you can come here, change the tab to whatever name you want, write your content, have it as easy as ABC. So coming down, you have expanded rules, drawing, you want to draw mass, API methods, open API spec, page link, and now it has some other features like this is giraffe, run kit, like a lot of features. Now you can also embed the video here. Clicking on YouTube, or if you have the video on, I want to put a GitHub gist, code pen, flow,
Òyìnbó lẹ ti ń
typeform,
rówó.
Google Docs. This is how it works. So it's very easy for you to work with this
Òyìnbó lẹ
if
ti
you're
ń
not
rówó
an
sátáláìtì
engineer.
wọn náà.
And it's easier for you to start working because you don't need to start learning programming or any other tool or language. You just start
Òyìnbó
working
lẹ
with
ti ń
this here.
rówó.
So once with this, you're good to go. But one thing you have in mind is that most companies don't use this. Some use it, but companies don't use now, but other companies they don't use this at all. So that is why I said it's very good for you to learn how to work with Markdown and at least have one or two examples of these tools you can work with to share. So when you want to show a company that this is what you have done, they can proceed. So let me see if I could bring that one I use. Call it ViewPress. So I use ViewPress to build that doc site. So and I think it's also something you can also check out. Okay. All right. So this I use ViewPress to build this. There is ViewPress. So everything is listed like this, and you can go to GitHub and you get to see it is open source. You can also make changes to it and add anything you want to add at all. So this is using ViewPress, and I know I have one I use with Mac. I use with Google. Let me see if I could bring that one up here. Okay, yeah. And so now this one I use Google to do this. This has cool features you can work with. So this is Google, and this is what I use for my technical writing code that was stated in the class. I guess I didn't add the video here. I added video for some of them. Let's see this other video. So this is something you can work with. ViewPress, also another tool you can also work with. So for me, it's something I would also advise anybody to go and learn. And for the Google System of Docs that is coming up, looking at this video I added, this is on my YouTube channel, so you can also watch it directly from here. So working with tools like this would give you an edge over most engineers, because most of the engineers they just write for companies, agencies like Dev, which will require you to write on a tool or build a small project and write. But when it comes to a real, like a company that you want to work for, they don't just expect you to write on their blogs alone. You have to go down to the docs to maintain the docs, make changes to the docs, or some cases you can build docs from scratch. Now, one good thing about learning this skill is when I worked with one company that I was paid most $6,600, they didn't pay me such an amount of money for me to just start writing on their blogs. They paid me to build their docs. I worked for that company for like 4 to 5 months to build their docs from scratch to finish, and added a few content. So I wouldn't say I added so much content, very few, but most of my energy was building the docs from scratch to finish. So imagine you're having this doc as code, you can build docs, you can maintain docs. You can probably see a bad docs and say this is bad, these are the features that needs to be on the docs. And you can also write technical documents. You can also write different like API docs. You can also write that or maybe change logs coming from the engineers and all that. So you can also find yourself writing all that, or white papers, including this. Now that is a huge skill. So I will urge everyone here to, okay, let me probably not say urge. Let me say this is an assignment. So the host, so I would like to give you an assignment. I hope they will accept. I would like everyone to use Docker code, build anything of your choice. Okay, no, let me not say anything of your choice. I have an assignment I gave my first cohort. So let me look for the assignment and share with you guys. Just me a few minutes, let me look for that. So just go on your own, take your time. That
Yeah, I think your
yeah,
internet is
fine.
breaking.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Oh yes.
Okay. So I'm looking for the assignment, but if I can't find it, I will send it to the host so you will share it. Anyway, before then, let me probably ask. So, would you guys want to accept the assignment? Yes or no? Maybe drop it in the chat
Yeah,
so
sure,
I
sure.
would know if you want to accept the assignment.
Sure, I believe that's a way to duplicate the process of this workshop also. So definitely.
Yeah, because I would like you guys to work on it and have a call again with what you have built so far. Okay, now let me see if I can get. So this is the assignment. I like it. That is what one of them built. So I'll probably use that to explain the assignment. Okay, so you can go through this link. And this is one of my mentees that did the assignment. Now the assignment is to build a docs using any tool of your choice. So you can use Gitbook if you want. You can use Docsify if you want, or any other static generator of your choice. Now, build a docs that would talk about front-end tools. Now you will have 3 sections. Okay, since I'm sharing my screen, let me open this up. So you have 3 sections. You have one that will talk about HTML. You have the other one that will talk about CSS, and you have the other one, the last one, that will not talk about JavaScript. So you are now as if you're replicating what is already existing, but you're writing it on your own. Now, one thing I want you guys to note in writing is you don't have to copy, no matter what. I don't accept that. And we have what we call ethics in writing. Ethics is everywhere. Open source has ethics. Even your hustle, you have ethics. Even currently, you yourself, you have ethics. You have your rules, your grand rules, things you don't do, your do's and don'ts. For example, you might say, no matter what happens, I cannot come back late to my house. If you're in school, you say once it's 6, I must find myself at home, or 6 o'clock, I will go to the church every Tuesday. That is your rule. So now there is rules, and there are penalties when you don't do that, which you probably have a reason why you say I must do this. So imagine you have exams close and you say, okay, since my exams is in a few months' time or in a few weeks' time, I will be reading 4 hours every day, meaning each day you miss out reading, the punishment is you don't get to gain any knowledge. And meaning that you probably need to look for somebody else to copy when you get to exam hall. And that is a huge punishment. So, but there are huge punishments when it comes to copying. So what I want is go and write about HTML. You have room to search, to make researches. You understand? It's acceptable, but not going online and look at what somebody has done and start copying everything and pasting it and like, hey, I'm done. You should be proud of yourself for doing that. So this is what he did. This is the assignment. Talk about HTML starting from the beginning to the last. But if you don't have that time, you can probably cut it short. So he stopped at layout. You can stop at that. You can go further. He talked about CSS. Sorry, so but I've already made some changes. So if you probably look at this, I told him to work on a lot. So this introduction, he introduced the CSS. This is the CSS syntax. This is what he did so far. It says comments. This is CSS color. Now, and he used Gitbook to build this. So you go on JavaScript. So this is JavaScript syntax. You go on variables. This is the variables, how we talked about that, operators in JavaScript. So just replicate this. Then now the last one is I gave him an assignment that after doing all this, you have a tutorial section where you now build, because most of them don't know HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So this is the first time working with this. So I told them, go and learn how to work with this. So while you're learning, you're now writing and building your docs. Then build a calculator app using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then that's it. So this is what he did. So build a calculator app and this is the final look of the calculator app. So if you follow this step, you get that look. So this is what he did. So you can also do this. So this will be the assignment. So if you would accept, that would be very good for sure. But if you don't, it's also good. So if you have any question, guys, this is the time.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for.
Yes, you can do that local host. Yeah, sorry, I'm attending to one question. This is the local host. This is mine, right? So this is still local. So any changes I make here, I can put it to my GitHub. It's on GitHub already, but I am still making changes to this now. So this is here. So it works with local host. So you make changes locally whenever I want to push it up. So how is the documentation in the source code included? You follow the steps on Docsify docs here to have it installed. Then you start adding all your content. So what you do is to add more content here. If you follow it very well, you see you will create a new Markdown file. Once you create a new Markdown file, it sees this file as a new page. Now, but before it will notice that a new page, you need to come under this sidebar and add it here. So you have writing, you have resume, you have art, and you have video. Okay, video art this. So I added them here before it could notice that, okay, this is actually, okay, now let me use an example. This is the no code. And for the no code is not here. So now let us notice something. Okay. So here you can see that there is not like no code, because why? I have not added no code in that file called underscore sidebar. So now let me add the no code here. It's no code. Make sure the way it is written here, that is how you add it here, else it's not noticed that. So, right, so this is saved already. So if you're looking at my screen now, I guess you should see no code. So this is how you add it. So you come under here, you add it, and that is when it will now call this a new page. Else it will not call it a new page if you don't add it under this sidebar. So what will be included in the HT index file? So this is the index file. Yeah, this is. So this is where you add your everything about your JavaScript, HTML, or CSS. So any styling, you add it here. So if you want to add any plugin, this is where you add it. So for the plugin, that is, their names are self-explanatory. So this is the Docsify plugin. So this is the plugin for search. This is the plugin for copy code. So you can copy a code. This is the plugin for pagination. And this is the plugin for zoom image. If I have an image, I can zoom. So this is the plugin that would handle that, because since I'm having double zoom images. Yeah. Okay, so now let's try to remove this. Let's run with this. Let's try to see if we can find our search. So looking at this, there is no search. The search is gone. So that is where you make all your changes about your plugin. You can add your HTML files, you can add your CSS styles. This is the file you can do that here. So look at our search is back. So like I said, it's pretty simple, because if you want to be a huge docs, this is going to be a lot, having everything here. So it's going to be a lot. So, but this is just minimalistic for you to learn. sorry, sir, I wasn't really clear with the question. So for in JavaScript, how can the documentation on the functions and all be added to this documentation, like if one was building a library? Okay, for me, I've not built a library before for this, so let me open this. So write a plugin. So plugin is a simple function that takes hook as an argument. So this is an example of what people have done. I think they have section where you can go ahead to build that. So you can go through the docs, and there is somewhere that you can give you an option to write a plugin. So Benga, I don't know if you can move the mic and please let me understand what you're actually saying.
Hi, sir. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm sorry to I didn't know how to actually put my question into words. So what I'm trying to say is that initially I come from more of a software background, like more of programming than technical writing. So we are actually required to kind of like put documentation within the code itself. So most of all those comments that we put inside the code, is there a way to kind of like have them appear inside the documentation so we don't have to write it in like two places?
Okay, no. It's be there. It's always be there. But they have a way they generate. Source code documentation. If that is what you want, at least that will probably explain a little about your code.
Yes.
Like in Android, they have a button you can just click to generate that. Even on JavaScript, they also have a VS Code extension that could generate your source code, including your comments. So if you add comments, you make it much easier because you pick from your comments to explain that code.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
So let me code documentation. I think there is something like that. Okay, yeah. So you can use this. So look at just an example. Generate docs to just generate that because I added all these comments. Just generate it for you and yeah. So let me share the link. All right. So any other question? The host, you have the mic.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking us through the whole process of setting up the docs as code with various static site generator like Docsify and then everything you've been mentioning since we've started. So now you also made mention of Google season of docs which will be starting which their company accepted organization list will be released by 7 p.m. So you made mention of you identifying issues in a documentation and pointing them out for fixing, which I believe is one of the necessary assets for someone who is trying to participate in the Google season of docs, that is going through the documentation of the organization and pointing out what's needed to be fixed or what can be improved. So can you maybe do a detailed explanation on that point? Yeah, I don't know, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I was on mute, sorry.
Great.
So there are certain things that we look for in docs to be sure that the docs meets a high standard. So one of those things are you need to make sure that the docs have a search. So now let's go through my example. So now one is a search. Reason is because if a docs does not have a search, it doesn't meet that. I don't know if I talked about information architecture earlier on the call. So this is a major factor, not just in writing, in our everyday life. So, but if I bring it down to writing, it's very important because how you arrange your content will make it easier for somebody to understand. Let me give an example with this that I've done so far. So going through this, looking at writing and looking at resume, one thing that will run through your mind is maybe what is here has to do with writing, since it's AI trending too. So what is here, we'll be talking about AI tools that assist in writing, maybe AI tools that assist in resumes, and you click, you see it here. So okay, actually I was right. So now imagine I take the resume and put under the writing, or maybe I don't have any writing, I just have overview and I have this ChatGPT writing, I have the next one resume, I have the next one video. It will be confused because I did not categorize them very well. So users cannot even look for content. So that is what you should learn. So learn information architecture, that helps you know how to look for content. And I did a trend on my Twitter. You can also follow me on Twitter. I dropped lots of information on technical writing and writing in general. So now still on the information architecture, which is search. So imagine I'm over here in the resume, and maybe I want to check if this docs has something like ChatGPT, or I said, okay, let me just for chat research, and I'm seeing this. If I click, it takes me here. So meaning that I can easily find content. I can navigate from one place to the other easily because I clicked here and it brought me here away from where I was. So if you're looking for a docs to improve and you see that the docs does not have this chat, this search, which means it's a red flag that the docs should have it. So look for a way to implement it. So that is what you probably sell to the organization. Then look at this. I call this a journey, the table of content. I call it a journey because how you arrange it to make somebody understand the product very well. So for example, you want to learn React and you go over to the React docs, and in the React docs, you're supposed to have maybe what is React, introduction to React, then you have installation. So after knowing what it means, you install. Then the next that should follow would be what will tell you about maybe just like your hello world, like the first program you can, very simple program like hello world on React, which when you do, you have that React logo, then going next will not probably give you more details. So that is like a journey. So this is coming first, this is coming second, this is coming, just like you're counting 1, 2. Imagine you count 1, 2, you jump and count 7. Person will be confused that what happened to 3, 4, 5, and 6. You understand? So when you're looking at that, so you should have that journey. There shouldn't be any breakpoint. So I've known what is React, I've known overview of React. Now I need to know how to install React. Then imagine after this, no installation of React, and you're showing me how to use React hook. I will be like, I don't understand. I don't even know how to install it. Neither do I even know the first program it looks like if I want to run it for the very first time. I'll be so confused. So you're looking at for those features. Now the next thing you look at for is what I call it is your formatting and the structure. So you have this here. You see, this is having a big font, and this is having a smaller font. Makes it easy for me to understand that this is different from this. So, but imagine you're going through and you're not even, everything is looking like same. You're having just like the example I gave. Let me try if I could do that again here. Okay, so let me say you want to talk about the title of something. You have title and you want to start writing about, okay, now let me use something like this. What is code? And come here, you're supposed to do something like this. So if I look at it, so if I look at it, at least I know that this should be what this means. So but imagine you come here and you're having so I would be confused, like it's a different topic or something, or why is this? So, you need to know about this formatting and the structure and arranging of all this. So the major thing you look at for is learn about information architecture that will help you to know how to structure your your document very well, organize your document very well, check that everything that should be there is there. If anything is missing, then that is where you come in and give them the clue that there are needs for modification in this area. It should have a search. Doc should have a search. A doc should have day 19. This doesn't have it. At least this one I did here. Have it here. This one has it. So now the benefit of not like myself, but putting on glasses, if I don't, I'll be seeing, but I will struggle a bit. So but imagine I use a 19. It's easier for me to work with than I use this. This is too shouting. Now you don't know your users, you don't know their eyesight, you don't know their problems. So if you give them options like this, it'll be easier for them to enjoy and navigate your docs. You have this one you can work with during the day, more like most developers, like Benga said, that he's more of an engineer that do code. So as an engineer that loves coding, myself, I love the ninth thing. Even during the day, and because of your eyes, so you don't need to be seeing this. Already your laptop screen is a lot for you, and you're now still going through, so you need to have something that will help your eyes. So having an option for day 19 is fine. Now, another thing to look out for is when you have a doc site that you can make changes to directly on GitHub, that gives you a very good option so that anybody can make changes to the docs. It's open source already, so give them that opinion that you have the docs, the GitHub section, you can make changes, and on the go, you make your changes and send your pull request so that they can go ahead and, Now, the next thing to check out for is Google Analytics. Now, you might not notice that because it runs in background, but you might ask if they have. If they don't, then you probably say they need to do that. Looking at Docsify, you see they have list of plugins. This is search. Now they have this one, Google Analytics. So you have to create your own Google Analytics app. Get the ID, copy this, paste it on your HTML file in Docsify, and put it here so that this will now be reading. Google can now crawl and start having all your pages up. Knowing somebody comes to your docs, knowing somebody how we call bounce rate. Go to your docs, you didn't spend so much time. You don't zoom off. That's bounce rate. So know your bounce rate, so you know if there are needs for you to make modifications and all that. So these are all the features, major features you should check on the docs. So if you check the docs doesn't have that, that is now where you can come in. Then I love visuals a lot, images, illustrations. So there are needs for you to add illustrations. You're talking about a feature, you need to add illustrations, add images that will make people understand this. Okay, for example, I'm working on, I've not pasted it here, so this is more private to me, but let me share with you guys. So this is a docs I'm working, more like a guide I'm working on for Postman. So now here I talked about how to create a workspace. So what I did was to show you the workspace that, okay, this is what, using this number. So first you have to log into your Postman account. Second, which is number 2, this is number 2. So once logged in, click on the workspace, this, and the next one, number 3, click on create workspace, this. So you use image labeling tools to label your images. So when you go through their docs and you find that they don't have this like this, you also suggest that you have images that are fine, but you need to have some labelings that will make it easier for people to work with your docs and understand. Because looking at this, you now know that, okay, yes, this is where I click, the next one is this one. So coming down, I said, okay, after clicking, this is what it looks like. Coming down, this is the collection. You want to create a collection. Now, create a collection. Looking at this red line, the red line will just, looking at this image, the first thing that you would want to see is where this red line is pointing. So when you're reading through, you get here, you definitely know that this is what I mean. So coming down, this doesn't have this, but this is now showing, okay, here I'm talking about parameters. This is image for parameter, authorization, this is for authorization, header, this is for header, body, pre-script and test and all that. So this is what you have for all of them. Now, in this section, I talked about how to add a request. I pointed you how to add a request. I said, okay, enter a request. You click here, you come here, you have the so you go through and make sure they have images you can work with. Also go through and check that they have images that are well labeled, so it will be easier for people to work with the docs. Reading docs, you have all these, make it easier for people to find content. I guess these are the major features you should check. Yeah. Okay, so now same on the SEO side, you also make sure they have internal links because it will help a lot. So make sure they have internal links. So start linking because we call it backlinking. So backlinking would help, Google crawl your docs very well, and it also helps with authority, gives authority like originality to your doc. So you have a content in resource and you wrote about something here, you add a link from here to resource, you add a link from resource to newsletter, you add a link within a content in newsletter to about, from about, interlink very well, backlink, link very, very well. That would help your docs a lot. So, and also tell them also other things to be needed is also having links down to that docs to also improve the SEO course. You're building the docs for the developers, so the developers should find a way to see the docs. So SEO plays a very key role, even either outside adding the search, checking other things, and people can only see the link when you share it with them is wrong. So they should probably start Googling on their own, and the link should pop up their page where they can see that. So I guess this is all I could remember for now. But these are the major ones. These are the major when I look at docs, these are the major things I look at. Then, okay, yeah, you have the grammar, you check the grammar to make sure the grammar is right. You can use some AI tools like Grammarly. Most times I will just copy their page based on Grammarly and start finding faults. So you can also do that and say, hey, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. You need to probably do this. Try to shorten this, try to make your content, less wordy and all that. So checking for the grammar also, and punctuation errors and all that will also be a key feature. So I gave you an idea. You can just go and copy their content, or maybe go to your homepage, copy it, paste it on Grammarly, and start checking for grammatical problems. So if you can find anyone, you can now send it to them. Hey, I found something here and this. Now what I did to do my settings, I went through their docs, looked at their docs, copied a few things, checked on Grammarly. More like in my proposal, I wrote about these issues in my proposal. So copied everything, wrote about everything on my proposal, added the whole grammatical issues I found, links to the page, where they add the image, and also went as far as taking screenshots and this is how you should do this and a few things. And boom. I know a lot of persons applied, but it picked me. So I guess that will also work. And I wrote an article, I probably will share that tomorrow. So I wrote an article on how to go about getting past the application stage and getting into the program. So I will also share that link, then you can check it out.
Yeah. So thank you so much. You really said a lot, to be honest. These things I've been applying to Google season of docs for close to 3 years now, and this is the first time I'll be hearing issues like this, because I barely understand. I barely have an idea that okay, I have to look into this and send it out to report. Most of the article out there only wrote little about these issues. They are not saying so much about how to go about it. But thank you so much, and we really appreciate you honoring our invite. So very soon we upload the session on our YouTube channel. So everyone who couldn't make it to the session too will have access to it.
All right. Thank you so much.
So I will give you the feedback of the assignment. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that'll be fine. So I would get the assignment proper where I wrote it in the docs. Then I will share it with you on Twitter so you can also
Yeah, great,
share it with them.
great. Thank you.
All right, so this is my Twitter account. You can follow me on
Yeah, which will
Twitter.
be shared in the documentation when we document the session. When we document the
Okay.
session.
All right, so this is my LinkedIn also. You can follow me there. Then tomorrow I will be dropping a link and more ideas on how to apply to that. So when that as an engineer, it will be beneficial you know how to write technical document because it will make you look 10 over 10 over every other engineers because most engineers don't know how to write. Now, when you know how to write, that is to be very easier for you to be an engineering manager because you now know how to write. It will not even make you understand the business side of software engineering because most engineers just know how to code and code and code, but there is more to coding. So when you start writing, you probably see more to coding. So I would advise you also try to apply for the program. It's very, very important to apply to the program because it's more like a part-time to you. It's not going to stop you from doing your full-time job. When I did, we are not having meetings like almost every day. Almost even a week, we have meetings like maybe once or twice. Most times once or even no meetings at all. As long as you do your job, you send it, they approve it, that's it. So it's not going to take much of your time. You have your other time to do your full-time job while you're learning how to contribute to open source. So I would advise everyone here to also key into that. So do you have any other question before we close? I have a meeting to jump onto now.
Okay, great. So that will be all for now. If there's any other question, we'll pass it to you via Twitter. Thank you so much, and then that will be the end of this meeting. So we'll be closing now because we've even exceeded the time, so you can go and attend your meeting. Thank you so much once again, Wisdom.
That's welcome.
Mr. Gbenga, I saw you yesterday. Or was it at
My chief.